One side fights for humanity. One side fights against the gods. This is the battle between science and the supernatural. Join me as we unfold this review that should be done months ago, but somehow always got pushed back. This is One Side Hair Boy versus Green Demon Person. After a whole year since it's been announced, we finally saw the crossover between two classics, CYBORG 009, created by Shotaro Ishinomori, and Devilman by Go Nagai. And after 1 year it being released, I'm now reviewing it. And if you don't know about these two series, then I recommend to watch the previous reviews, just for heads up. The English sub and dub came at the perfect time to fill the void of people who want to see DC's Batman vs Superman and yet to see Marvel's Civil War. But personally, I think this crossover is more important than these two films. You see, most official crossovers are made because they both belong to the same author or made by the same publisher or magazine. CYBORG 009 and Devilman have almost none of these in common. The only exception is that 009 once was part of Weekly Shonen magazine as Devilman, but jumped around in both Jump and Shoujo territory. To go further than one ordinary movie or special, this crossover is divided in 3 episodes. Now, combining these two series is rather interesting. Sure, they have shared one theme of anti-war and both are the most popular series both authors have produced. But you will never really see these two work each other off. They are playing at a different tempo. To make it simpler, it would be like if you combine the A-Team with Rambo or the Terminator with the Avengers. You can understand some connection, but they aren't the first 5 crossovers that would pop up in your mind. So what did they do in this crossover? Did it work? Well, it did work. Kind of. Let's see what the story is about. The CYBORG team are living in peace until they discover that demons have been spotted in Japan, with the suspicion of black ghosts being behind it. Joe and the others arrive to Tokyo to look after clues. Meanwhile, Akira and Miki get the exchange student and befriends her. No, I'm sorry, it's just Miki since Akira is too cool for school. He would rather hang out with his pal Ryu and secretly hunt for demons in the night. With both teams close by and the stage set, it's only a matter of time before they meet and find out who is behind it. Now, for those who aren't used to anime crossover special, let me tell you this. For some reason, there are almost non-direct fight against each series. There might be some, but in the end they're either too quickly or they're only for friendly sparring. In this, we get it at the first episode and boy is it lovely. However, they won't be enemies for long as we need to have obligated villains who make our heroes fight with one another instead of against each other. Yeah, this crossover does not break new ground except for the lack of publication connection as I previously stated. But it did succeed on having me entertained throughout as it was meant to be. Well, let me break it down to you on what I thought was great. And one of the many things was the opening. No, not the opening, though both that and the ending was pretty nice. I mean the first 6 minutes in episode 1. It plays back to back between a fight between Joe vs Apollo and Devilman vs G-Man, with something transition between scenes such as smoke or fire. In this short introduction, we are introduced to both motivation of Joe and the brutality of Devilman. The downside to this is that it aims to the people who have already seen a good chunk of one series or the other. So unless you don't care or already know, you probably won't get much of an introduction other than who they are and what they are fighting against. Not to mention that playing off these important fights from the manga in the opening that won't be mentioned again is a turnoff. The design of the character are mostly great, probably even perfect. The cyber looks like a mix between the 80s movies and the 2000 version. It stayed true to the original and iconic design, but keeps it fresh by not making it too cartoonish nor too serious. And for Devilman, oh baby, it's the best Devilman design I ever seen. Some can argue that the 70s, the 80s, or even the 2000 animated Devilman looked best, which I can understand since all are the Devilman for its time and represent the phase it's going through. But the Devilman in this, I think is the best one. He's green, he's mean, and he's armed to the teeth. He's fast, brutal, and has the strength of a steroid bear. Not to mention that he's tall as one. Just look at it. He's almost towering the rest of the cast. When this Devilman appears, he, if I may put it, rips and tears.
Rip and tear.
The only thing that is pushing this side of cast is the humans. I don't know, but Roy and Akira, both faces look too shonen-esque. Might if Roy and Akira looked like this, with a pointier nose and less long face, could make it look better. But hey, that's my opinion. I rather like the majority of the OVAs when these guys around. They were a blast. However, that doesn't mean I didn't like the cyborg part. Yeah, some reviews I've seen look down on their part and dislike how they take too much time. Well, yeah, that is true, and I do wish you could have more Devilman goodness. You know, rip and tear. But that wouldn't make it balanced. Not only does the cyborg team cover most of the cast, but they drive the plot forward. To put it simple, if Devilman are doing a side job, then the cyborgs are doing the full time. We need a cyborg part to balance it out so that we can have fair and dry crossover. The violence is more brutal if you have something to compare with, which is great since the cyborg has a fast and bloodless battles. With that in mind, I like the cyborg this time around, probably better than the previous movies. They actually act as a team.
In case you haven't heard of it, it's called teamwork.
Most of them no longer are absent or just sitting around while Joey doing all the dirty work. All seem to be on the move. They might be serious, but they also have the time to fool around or interact with each other. Everyone do their usual thing, but also complements each other. If there's anyone who can prove this progress even more of their teamwork, then it's definitely 003. In the movies I covered, she's mostly there. She's just there. She's just there to motivate Joe and sometimes be in the way when the bad guys arrive. But in here, she actually partaken in the action by sending coordinates and instructions to the team as she was second in command. Wow! She has gone a long way. From being a damsel in distress, to being a free rider, to a sexual supporter, to being a valuable teammate. Hey, it might have taken 4 moves and some decades. But we finally got there. For the villains, it's a mixed bag.
I know who you are. High team numbers.
Don't you see that demons are just trying to fight demons?
001.
You got the scientist who is crazy, the new cyborgs who are much stronger and more cockier, and a final boss with 2 forms. First of all, no Satan. You can see Satan in the opening, but she isn't here. Nor is it any other big villains from other series like Xeon or anyone from Black Ghost. Second of all is this guy. Looks like Accelerator or something. As much as I like how the villains are the perfect middle ground, as both Nagai and Ishinomori have tendencies of having crazy cult leader or scientist, the final villain was a mess. It tried to fuse both of the design of a villain that would fit in both series, but ended up with someone who doesn't fit in either. It might have been better if there was a giant demon mech controlled by a scientist. Yeah, that would probably make sense. I mean, in the sense of how the series is played out. Eh? The soundtrack wasn't notably, sadly, so I can't make up any remarks on that. What are worth talking about is the voice actors. This OVA had the blessing of receiving both subtitles and dubbing in multiple languages, but I'm only going to quickly cover the original Japanese and the English dub. Overall, the cast was good for both versions. This sounded the part. There are only 2 things I want to nitpick. First of all is the name calling. Sometimes I mispronounce the name, but hey, that's what happens when you go into English from Japanese.
Amon, let's finish this! I told you I'm not Amon! Power, come on, make it on!
But second is the Devilman cast in Japanese. They are not the same as the previous OVA. Okay, I'm not implying that those were their only roles, but you kinda got used to their voices afterwards. This is especially a salt in the wound when the voice actor who voiced Ryu before is now 006 for some reason.
Yeah.
And the other is Devilman voice in the dub. Bryce Papenbrook, who is most famous for voicing Eren, Kazuto and Caesar, probably should not try too hard to make Devilman's voice sound like a bear. Try not to make him growl too much.
It's that girl!
Besides that, you could tell that they were really passionate about this project, having not only 009 cast but some other from Ishinomori bibliography. It seems that studios really did a good job of portraying the characters. Not only does the animation look good, but so does the pacing. I would undoubtedly say that it will be a decent Cyborg anime series and one hell of a Devilman series. One thing that does generally upset me with that they are this good is nothing but one simple question. Why haven't they done the series before? Really, it seems that they've done it pretty well. I like the modern version of this classic series. Even they already have 3 different TV versions of Cyborg. We only got one Devilman. Why would you do a crossover series right away without making 2 series first? Why have 2 characters duke it out when majority of the modern fans doesn't know or care what these 2 characters are? Originally this was supposed to be 2 different series from the news we got, but it turned out to be a crossover. Maybe the information was misleading or that they changed their mind, I don't know. But to be honest, if this wasn't for this crossover, I would probably never had seen Cyborg 009. Yeah, when they announced it, I then needed to do some research just to find out. I mean, something that is crossover with one of my favorite series should be rather interesting. And after all this, I'm glad. I'm glad I could experience both the manga and the movies of what the series could offer. Overall, this crossover was great, but mostly bittersweet when you consider the possibilities for expanding the series for newer generation. However, if this crossover does help other projects, crossover or even a Devilman related, then this crossover might seem more important than it is right now, at least for the other, not for me. But I doubt it since Product IG are already making another Cyborg movie and no further news after 1 year of its release for any for a Devilman. Go watch if you want to see Cyborg fighting demons, or see Devilman wreck some shit, and look forward to what's coming up next.
Though I appear to be a demon, I am still human. I'm here to protect Samus.
Protect Samus?